Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Shebo. Today is Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Welcome and hello. Last time we met, oh boy, we got pie science. We got pie science last time. It was absolutely glorious. We set up some cotton guts over here. Got them going and got into pie science. And after we set up the pie science, I decided to process some uranium into 20% uranium powder. In this area over here, we've got our jaw crushing, our impact crushing, our secondary crushing, our screening to get into the 20% uranium powder. Did not bother going up to 40% at this point because it is a pretty big consumer of iron dust and sulfuric acid. It's a huge consumer of those, and I need the 20% powder anyway. And I'm using it right now to get into fuel rods. That's where we ended things off, was to get into fuel rods. Why? Because I wanted to, off-screen, set up Bodos, in particular, that needed fuel rods. Hello, Dolly. Yeah, Merle. Dolly wasn't feeling too good this morning. Yeah, Merle. Yeah, she spit up before her breakfast, and then she went to her spot under the recliner in the den over here, and didn't want to come out for her food. Didn't want to come out for breakfast for her chick. She didn't want to come for her chick, so I had to give her food under the recliner today. Because I found her under there, and she was there. She was like, I took her bowl to try to coax her out, and she was like, try to reach out from under the recliner to grab the bowl, but she didn't want to come out at all to get her food in the kitchen. So it's like, okay, I guess you're eating here today. And she ate. And later on, I came and brought the bowl to the normal location and in the kitchen, and put her up on the counter. She normally eats in front of the sink, right on the little strip of countertop in front of the kitchen sink, just to be away from her brother on the floor. Problem lately is now her brother is jumping up onto the kitchen counter and eating the scraps before we have a chance to put them down for him, because she often leaves and comes back. Now he's poaching what she's left behind before she has a chance to come back. So I was like, oh, that's lovely. That's great. And he's no longer as hesitant to jump to the kitchen counter. He used to be very, very, very hesitant, but lately he's realized, oh, there's this wonderful thing, couple wonderful things inside of the sink known as the sponge, and the and our little stopper for the garbage disposal. He treats them both as toys. We often find both the stopper and the sponge on the floor, not only in the kitchen, but various places throughout the house. He'll just grab them and take off with them because they're somehow, he thinks they're toys. He likes wet toys. He even makes his toys wet because he wants his toys wet for whatever reason. He likes the water, the wetness. Anyway, so that was what we did last time. We got the Pie Science, the 20% powder, and the fuel rods. In between streams, between Tuesday and today, because I got Pie Science, I now have the extreme vast majority of available technologies. There are a few left, just a few left, but I believe I got all of the important ones sorted out. And I'm just going to chew through everything that remains, because I am going to need Pie Science brought to my mall to make a few creatures, including Simics, Arthurians, and Fati. In particular, those three, because to make the Arthurian and Fati samples in here, in the data arrays, I'm going to need Pie Science for both of them. And I want all of my Pie Science to go into actual science right now before I start leeching off science to the mall for these purposes. Speaking of which, I now have something in here. I've got stuff and things eventually. I'm supposed to have trits going. Why do I not have these going? Oh, because you need the yeah, you need a array that I don't actively have anymore. I need the freaking Zippier samples, and I don't have that going anymore because I stopped them because I assumed that they were only used for that Zippier. Oops. Oops. I could have had trits going at this point. That's the only thing of the new things. I can't do Dilmos yet until I have great alien samples. I can't do Scrondrix until I have great alien samples and Arthurians. I can't do Simics until I get the Pie Science brought in, as well as some cytostatics brought in. Are these Simics? No, these are Fati. Excuse me. Fati are, yeah, cytostatics and great alien samples. The Arthurians just needs the Pie Science for the DNA samples. Vonix needs great alien samples. This is the Simic. The Simic needs the Arthurian and Fati samples that need the Pie Science. So really just getting Pie Science brought in is going to give me access to Simics and Arthurians immediately, wherever the Arthurians are in here, and eventually, once I have the great alien samples online, I should have Fati and several other things. Same thing up here with the Dingrits. These guys also need Arthurian eggs. A couple of these need Arthurian eggs, so we need Arthurians set up first. But outside of that, I've got Mukmo I've got the Thagnots. I've got some Zipier. Things are going. I have Crydron available, so we could set up the Crydron. I still need to set up Novens. I can set up the Cadaveric Aurum. I have set up Renea, and I can set up Tufra, and I have set up Bodos. So we'll get to that, but first things like, well, I guess because I'm on this topic, we should just go and have a look where, if I remember where I did these things. I have scaled to Mark II my Moondrop, and I haven't changed anything regarding the recipes up here at this time. So I now have additional Moondrop with additional methane production. Keep that in mind. I needed to do that. Bodos. I said I was going to start working on initial setup of creatures between streams just because of how long it tends to take to go through that positive feedback loop process to actually make enough of the creatures to set up the factory. And I have done so here with Bodos. This is making 5 per second with this particular recipe, this one involving fuel rods, improved fungal substrate, and biomass, and ash. So whichever number recipe that is, and of course the Bodos spores, which I do now have the 80% output recipe for spores, among everything else. But this one's pretty simple. Just bring in our improved substrate and fuel rods, as well as some aromatics to make the biomass and the ash, since that makes ash as well through making flue gas out of the biomass. And it's just, voila, we have our wonderful and beautiful Bodos, which, if you think these things look like fleas, they are actually Mark II construction robots. I know that's a little bit difficult to see the ghost entity here, but these are Mark II construction robots. In case you didn't realize, they look like fleas. They're little flying fleas. And I do have the Mark II construction robots, and I have some on me because, well, I've taken a few upgrade techs. Since I got Pi Science, a lot of upgrade techs opened up, and the vast majority of Pi Science buildings now have productivity associated with them. And as it turns out, the way that it's handled is that when you place down the building, a hidden beacon is created that provides the module effect that you have picked in here. Unfortunately, it doesn't show in here which one you picked, but just, I picked the productivity every single time, because of course I'm going to pick the productivity every single time. Unfortunately, with nanobots, it doesn't trigger the on-build script thing. It somehow, it's not the same event that is supposed to trigger the creation of that hidden beacon underneath the building. So it's unfortunate, and I'm trying to remember and think. I don't think it doesn't do it to any building that has ever been placed with a nanobot. I don't think it does. I've had to go and, like, pick up and place down a few things already that didn't have the productivity bonus after getting the technology, because those buildings were built initially with nanobots. There's just some other event that is done, that is flagged with a nanobot placement, that's not what the script for this stuff is looking for. But anyway, to get around that, I have to have regular robots place the buildings if I want to have bot placement. or automatic placement without having to manually go and do it. That hidden beacon also means that for every building type affected by one of these upgrades, in order to actually increase the mark level of the building, I have to pick up the building and place it down again. There is no fast replace because that hidden beacon has collision. The game won't let me actually place a new building over top of an existing building that has the hidden beacon on it or under it or whatever, however you want to think about it. It's rather odd. So yeah, we have mercy killing on the slaughterhouse. We have metachemo informatics on the research center now, and we'll need to talk a little bit about the research center. Of the Simic level 2 tech, I have picked the aluminium digestion. As mentioned on my Discord, I actually had a post where I covered all of these options for each level of Simics. Remember that for the first level, I picked iron digestion, despite people like really screaming for me to do quartz for whatever strange reason. It's like, no, I'm gonna do iron. For level 2, I've picked aluminium because the Illuminate saves a ton of inputs, outside inputs for the tech level, and it can be one step processed into better stuff to give me a lot more molten. And this is used as an ingredient. I'm pretty sure that the sodium aluminate crystallized. Oh, it's actually not. Okay, fine. Fine then. Is it the regular aluminate? Ah, dang. One step back is used for the Dingrit fur. But this one goes into high grade with one step, adding nichrome and graphite. And it saves the sodium chlorate, starch, sodium hydroxide, and what else? Alamac, and steam, and lime and phosphoric acid from the pulp stage 1. Yeah, it saves a bit of stuff brought in to go this route. Let's see. Next, the Bioreactor. This one got the reinforced baffles for the extra 20% productivity. The Biofactory got the CompuSun bacteria for 25% productivity. The DNA Lab got extreme nucleotide neutralization, which gives 40% productivity. Oh, by the way, with these tech upgrades, there is a bug on every single tech upgrade with pollution. Every single value of pollution is inverse to what it's supposed to be. So things that are supposed to reduce pollution actually add pollution, and things that are supposed to add pollution actually reduce pollution. For whatever reason, something somewhere flips a negative, and it doesn't work as intended. So things that are supposed to add pollution, like this one, actually reduce it by 25% as well. For those who care about pollution, I don't even have pollution enabled on this save because I don't have biters enabled on this save. But yeah, 40% is pretty good. 40% base productivity on this. It's pretty good. The compost plants also, there's actually plus 10 productivity on 2 things in here. So I went and I picked Humus Pacus because, it reduces energy rather than adds energy. And remember that the pollution values are flipped. So even though Worm Hotel is supposed to reduce pollution by 95%, it actually adds pollution by 95%. And then Humus Pacus reduces pollution by 50%. It's, as I said, it's very odd. It's broken. It shouldn't be that way. The incubators the cell culture things. They now have 4D cell cultures, which give me 30% productivity. This means that for our substrate, our special substrate, wherever that is over here, it means for this substrate, if I actually go and replace these to gain that 30% productivity in here, I'm going to end up magicking some empty petri dishes out of thin air. We will in fact violate the laws of thermodynamics. We're going to end up with more empty petri dishes than what we put in to this system, because yeah, these guys return empty petri dishes along with the substrate, and so does the next level of substrate, the whatever it's called, best substrate. That also returns petri dishes from the input incubated dishes, the empty dishes. So what ends up happening with the empty dishes is they loop back to make more petri dishes and incubated petri dishes, but you gain 30% more incubated petri dishes than petri dishes you put in, which means you end up with more empty petri dishes than what you put in once you process those incubated dishes. Now, while that is a way of producing them as a primary, like as a main way of like using extra petri dishes out of empty petri dishes out of nothing, I will be voiding anytime that this happens, and Pyandon will have to do something. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Pyandon will do something about this at some point. Unfortunately, I think that means that we'll have to remove the output of the empty dishes from here, which, keep in mind that this existed before the tech upgrades did, and this issue has been present the whole time, but this was, I think it was a suggestion by me to have it return the empty dishes in here. I don't know, there was something that I had suggested regarding the amount of stuff used to make these, but as it turns out, I was not actually looking at things from a practical standpoint. I was looking at it in Hellmod on how to make these improved substrates, and I was like, oh, this seems a little bit expensive. Actually, it's not, and it never has been, and it doesn't actually need to return these empty dishes. It's fine just the way it is on every level involved. It's actually fine if we don't get those dishes back, and it makes it so that I can actually have these upgrades and not have to destroy excess petri dishes. Keep this in mind, because it's very important as it applies to something else as well. Meow. Yeah. Dolly's down below me. The creature chamber. I don't know what compelled King Arthur or Pyanodon to do this, but they gave us a 40% productivity bonus on the creature chamber. We'll get to that. For the Simic level 3, what did I pick? I picked the molybdenum digestion. Clearly, because the molybdenum digestion will save every single step of processing of ore. Because this is actually the first needed output of molybdenum processing. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't want to have to set up a big nitrogen array as well as a bunch of filtration media to process molybdenum to get into the stuff, and it's not even a great ratio of ore to plates anyway to process the ore. So here we go. I'll be able to use Simics to get into molybdenum disulfide, which is used for one thing other than processing into the molybdenum trioxide and eventually the molybdenum plates. The trioxide will be absolutely necessary sooner rather than later with super alloy. Is it the alloy or is it the steel? I always forget. It is the super alloy right here. There's our moo 3. Our moo. Meow. Meow. Get down. Hey you. Would you not? Come on, get down. There you go. Yeah, there you go, Dolly. You're gonna be knocking over my green screen. Huh? You're gonna be knocking the green screen down? She wants to play. She wants to play. She's playful. Playful Dolly. So yeah, I'd pick molybdenum here, particularly because we can get chromite sand through multiple processing levels on chromium. I guess I should have checked if this was better than not sintering, than the whatever solution 7, the highest you can go on chromium, to compare the ore in to sand out. And just I have to laugh at boron trioxide being here. Like, no, I can get that so easily. No, you don't. No, you don't, Dolly. Don't go after my thingy. Or alternatively, do you want to go on the top? Do you want to go on the top? Can you make it there? No, you can't make it there. Here. Move. You want to go up? Go up. No, you don't want to. I've got a bookcase here and she often would walk on top of the bookcase if she wants to go there. Do you want to go there? You're calling out my green screen. You want to go up there? No, she's just sitting and staring. Like, hey, what are you doing? No, she doesn't. She doesn't. All right, well, back that goes. And back I go. Da-ba. Da-ba. Da baby. Oh, Dolly. What are you up to? Oh, there's Ollie. There's Ollie down on the floor. What's he up to? I don't know. What I do know is that on the next level of Simic processing that I do not currently have access to until Purple Science, that particular level is going to have some interesting choices, and I think that on my first impression that I put onto Discord, that I might actually change my mind. I may change my mind. It's a bigger choice than I thought it would be. It's a lot closer of options here. So at the next level, we've got zinc, nickel, and lead. You get molten lead, nickel pulp 3 that still needs processing with Aerofloat 15, chromium, syngas, and biofilm before being able to get into high grade, so it doesn't skip all that much. And zinc concentrate can be put into high grade with a few extra things: filtration media, lime, and soda ash, or it can be processed into molten directly. I've very much had said that zinc is the clear winner there, but because I was thinking with the lead, the molten lead, that hey, we've got a whole bunch of processing that we could do to get more molten lead. I never actually checked if sintering molten lead gave more than the output of Simic processing to molten lead. And as it turns out, the sintering process to make molten lead out of 30 lead ore in gives you 209 molten lead. Simic processing of 30 lead ore gives you 300 molten lead. So simic processing annihilates the entire processing chain for lead. To get lead, you still need to do it for silver, okay? Let's make that completely clear, because lead also makes silver. We're still going to need to do it for silver, no matter what. But it means that I don't have to spend as many resources to do lead anymore. I can instead devote these inputs here, the Z3 reagent, oleochemicals, etc., lime, filtration media. I can instead devote all that stuff to silver rather than to lead. But I can only do that at Purple Science, where I get the level 4 tech upgrade for Simics. So I'm thinking of absolutely picking that over the zinc concentrate. Tech level 5 gives you molten nexolite, and I checked the molten nexolite as well, just to see if that also applied to the nexolite, and it turns out that the nexolite processing does give you a heck of a lot more molten nexolite than simic processing does. Yeah, it's 5x difference-ish. At least, well, nearly 4x. 4 to 5 between those two. Little over 4, less than 5. So, don't pick the nexolite for Simics at level 5. In fact, I'm going to pick... it's actually a tough choice between titanium or niobium. Yeah, because you get niobium complex directly out, which, you know, that's nice. And that saves a lot of difficult to obtain fluids just to get straight into niobium complex. But anyway, that's that discussion. I still need to decide there. And then uranium versus gold versus silver probably is going to be uranium, because you get 70% powder directly out of simic processing of uranium. It's like duh. Saves a ton of iron and sulfuric acid to get your 70% powder, and while you'll still have to set up the processing chain to get into yellow cake, that's still good. You're still going to need 70% powder as well, so it's less repetition of that build and less of the inputs of iron overall. Then the last one here was the last two here, excuse me. We've got the Incubator, the egg hatcher. This one also gets 22% productivity, and the atomizer gets 50% productivity through tech upgrades. Yeah, that's a bit much. I have a story. I have a story of Rauk that is related to all of this. So, among all the technologies that I have unlocked this wonderful thing that is assisted embryology. Assisted embryology allows you to hatch eggs and raise pups and make pups. That is what this tech does for assisted embryology. And it applies to the vast majority of animals and insects available in Pi-alien life. And is a requirement for Arthurians and Xenos to get into those two critters. Most of the time, to work with this process and actually raise a pup to an adult, you'll need fetal serum. Vrouk cocoons only need water to hatch the Vrouk eggs. Vrouk eggs, or cocoons, are something we've already been making. So we can put down creature chambers to hatch cocoons and put in cages. Now, you may have remembered there's a tech upgrade for these that add 40% productivity. And as it turns out, you can also add vanilla productivity modules for this recipe. Which also means you could add Bob's modules for this recipe, giving productivity in the long run. Suffice it to say, this gives us an infinity number of cages, because we're getting more creatures out than, well, more caged creatures out than cages we put in. So when we uncage the creatures to use as modules or to send off to other locations to cage and slaughter loop without actually losing any cages, yeah, we end up with a positive, net positive on cages. So, free cages. Same exact scenario as the fungal substrate earlier with the empty petri dishes. Just this time it applies to cages. And this time it will apply to every single time we raise a creature that needs a cage from a pup or hatch an egg or any of that. We will always be getting more cages than what we put in, violating the laws of thermodynamics. So in this case, I'm just voiding the extra cages. I'm not going to rely on this as a production of cages for the base. I'm still gonna make cages, etc., etc. And this whole section is now deletable. I don't need this anymore. I don't need to actually use my Vrouk paddocks to make caged Vrouk anymore with its 70% chance of giving me a caged Vrouk. Oh no, now I can convert 10 Vrouk cocoons into 14.8 caged Vrouk. Now, I am going to want to get a lot more silver so I can get more fetal serum so I can use those other recipes for raising pups and hatching eggs that need fetal serum for every single creature that allows it. Later, we're going to get access to a recipe that will in fact double our output. The resveratrol recipes. These glorious growth factor resveratrol recipes. Now, these will take in 20 cages and produce 20 creatures. Problem is, well, baseline 40% productivity on top of this, so you will end up with 40% more cages than you put in, no matter what. Thanks to the tech upgrades. Now, it will be extremely painful. I don't know how to get around this without just removing the productivity from these machines completely. Just removing that tech upgrade. That's the only way. No matter what, you're going to get more cages out than in here. So there's that big discussion. What else have I worked on? What else have I done to destroy the laws of thermodynamics? Well, that's it for today for destroying the laws of thermodynamics for that side of things. Other discussion point that I have here before we really get into the meat of today, because guess what? Now that I have all the stuff available at PyScience and Chemical Science, there's infinity things that I need to do. And it's really difficult to like sort through and decide exactly what we should do first. We're going to be working on pesticides today, Mark II pesticides, as well as scaling the RCODs to have enough to produce the pesticides at the rate that I want them to. And we're going to be making the RCODs through raising maggots from Rauk. Where's my... Where are you? Here. So we're going to be doing this process. This is a net 2 out on the RCODs. You need to cycle back a singular one, a 0.1 here. But look at how cheap this is. Look at how cheap this is. Like, to make 2 RCODs, and look at how few buildings this is overall. For reference, doing this with an actual recipe producing RCODs out of the apiaries would need, like, hundreds. You would need more buildings for one step than you need buildings total for this. To do the maggot raising from RCOD nests in Vrauk. And I'm making like 6 Vrauk, so I've got plenty enough to do this at this point. And I need that to get the RCOD for making venom, RCOD venom, to slaughter them into venom, to make the Mark II pesticides. I want the Mark II pesticides. Renea. I've set up Renea somewhere up here. I do not currently have access to a pesticide recipe for Renea, and I will not have access until Purple Science. So it's fine that I've set this up now. Majority of the other plants will have a pesticide recipe available to me, aka this technology that's about to pop is going to give me a Mark II pesticide recipe to make Yotoi, and the Aurum Mark II pesticide recipe. Not so much Grydron, we're just working on text there. But Kickalk does, Relesia does, etc. All of the things Tufra does. So I want to have this set up before I do Tufra. Of which I have, because I have Renea, that means that I have set up manure bacteria off screen. The manure bacteria, it's a fluid eating up manure and petri dishes and agar, and that's it. So it's not that bad to make. So I just made the manure bacteria. Up here, I should have done this together, to be honest. This is methyl isobutyl carbinol. This is an ingredient that is exclusively used in high-grade processing of metals, specific metals. MIBC, methyl isobutyl carbinol. It is used specifically and only for tin and titanium processing as you work towards high-grade tin and titanium processing. I set it up because I do want to set up additional titanium production at some point, as well as molten tin. So yeah, I've set this up. It's not that difficult. It is essentially just acetone, petroleum gas, and copper plates. I am making petroleum out of aromatics. Aromatics to olefins. Aromatics to CO2. This is my CO2 production, and that actually makes a same amount of light oil as petroleum gas, but I'm not needing the light oil for this. The acetone. This entire infrastructure is just the acetone. Making of acetone. I'm trying to figure out a better way to get acetone, and I have decided on a better way to get acetone. It's just that it's gonna take a little while to do the adjustment. Right now, I am currently making organic solvent through an acetone recipe that gives me some ammonia and organic solvent, which, guess what? I now have a lot of ammonia. I now have a lot of ammonia. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If I can figure out where I did it. Here. I now have access to the abiotic ammonia recipe. So I don't need any of this to give me ammonia anymore. I don't need this for ammonia. I am now making 600 ammonia per second that I can scale out in this entire square eventually to give me as much as I need. It is being made out of hydrogen and nitrogen and a bit of chromium to make my ammonia. No longer shall we spend urea to make ammonia, and I have gone through the entire base and adjusted to importing my ammonia that's not being made from urea. And I've made a whole bunch of other adjustments too, because this also means that I can convert that ammonia that I'm making abiotically into cyanic acid by adding in methane and coal. Now, this uses a lot of coal. This is making about 320. It's 324 units per second in total of cyanic. This means that I needed more coal. Now, I had actually set up the coke, the extra coke production going into last stream. I forget if I mentioned it, but yeah, today I have coal. You've never seen this mod before? What's it called? This is the Pyandons mods mod suite. That adds a ton. It's a complete overhaul. Just look for Pyandons mods. It's many parts to it. This one, it's, gosh, I have to go to a load game just to see. So we've got the main things here are Pi coal processing is the base mod of Pyandons mods, along with fusion energy, high tech, industry, petroleum handling, raw ores, and alien life. All of those parts. Look for mod author Pyanodon and grab all those to set up the game, and also, you know, a lot of helper mods. A lot of helper mods. Quality of life things. Like Hellmod. Hellmod would be great, or Factory Planner. And what is it really used for? Or FNEI, depending on what one you want to use. It adds infinity complexity to the game. I just passed Blue Science with a new science level called Pi Science for alien life. We're not at purple yet. And it's going to be a long time before we get into purple. So I was saying, for organic solvent here, I basically already have an acetone factory. Like, I already have an acetone factory right here that's using it to make organic solvent and ammonia, but if I can, like, I don't need the ammonia anymore. If I can figure out a different way of getting into a lot more organic solvent, well, that solves my issues. I don't actually need to make a dedicated acetone factory. I can just put it onto the line from there. I don't want to do this forever for making acetone. In fact, my grand scheme is that I am considering tholins as my primary acetone production in the grand scheme. Unfortunately, I need utility science to unlock the acetone tholin. Why all three of the last techs for Tholins are utility science locked, I have no idea. I think that this is supposed to be Pi Science because it goes blue science. I would think that this should be Pi Science and not utility science, and then this one should be purple science with Pi Science and not utility science, and then this one is the utility science plus like all the things. But yeah, that it's weird. It's like, okay, I get utility science, and then I have all 3 techs in a row unlocked at utility science. It's weird. Very weird. Very, very weird. So that covers... oh yeah, this is making like 40 some odd units per second times 3 of coal. And this is making like 58 times 3. Almost 60 per second on each one of these. Not quite, though. It's in the 50s range. What is my total playtime? About 400 hours? I'm like 400 hours in, and I haven't put it on ×2 speed yet. I don't think I will, actually. I don't think I need to at this point. I've been progressing just fine. So that's more coal, that's MIBC, that's the various creature stuff talked about. Oh yeah, in preparation for today, I have also scaled my fiberboard production. I have to go and finish placing these. I scaled the fiberboard a bit. It's a little tight in here now with all these extra buildings producing stuff. This is now making 15 per second of fiberboard. God, I hate fiberboard so much. 15 per second of that, and I went to nylon, if I can remember where I'm making nylon, and I've scaled out the blood meal and put the blood meal onto the train network because I will be needing blood meal for the stuff that I plan on doing today. It's not used in the pesticides directly. It's used, I think, in the Tufra recipe that I plan on using. So this is the Tufra I plan on going through and making. Net 15 out of 39 Tufra plantations is a heck of a lot better than over 200 plantations. Actually, way more than that, I think, to do it without the stuff. The way I was originally planning on doing Tufra was one of these. Well, one of these other recipes down here. I think it was this one. That was... yeah. You know, 200 buildings? Just no. No, we're going to go and we're going to do this recipe using pesticides. And I have the ability, like everything else here is super, super easy to bring in. It's rather nice and easy. Notice the iron sticks there. This is the, God, I hope the last topic. Just going to my list of the things that I did. I've talked about the blood meal, the fiberboard, the Vraux, the Rhenea, the manure bacteria, the Bodos, the ammonia and cyanic, the coal, the MIBC, the... Okay, so there's a couple more things. So, hello, well, welcome. I have a big phosphate rock somewhere that I am mining and producing phosphate ore from. I said that it's somewhere. I actually have to go to my stations. So phosphate rocks 2 down here. So this is the big phosphate rock machine. It's got a Bodo module in it. It gives me 460 ore per second. I'm outputting 10 red belts, which is 300 per second, onto my train loads. Onto the train loads. Of which I'm only using like 30. that I'm processing into phosphates down here. I have not really touched the phosphates. It's just that I am now bringing in the ore from that mega mine, and I am no longer mining ore here because I don't need the syngas for it. Now, what I did need to do was adjust for the fact that I'm now not consuming syngas on the mining of the phosphates down here, so it's weird. I had to make ash. I had to make ash from aromatics into biomass that gets converted to flue gas and then converted into ash, and then void the ash out of the syngas production. So that's the edit, quote unquote, that I did, and I vastly reduced the amount of syngas production because I didn't need this. Did I disable biters? Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm not playing with biters ever, especially not for this mod set that's not even remotely designed with biters in mind. There is a nearly 0% chance that you will be able to beat the game through space science with Pyandons mods with biters enabled. That hasn't stopped some people from doing it, but I'm not going to. No from me. I don't like biters. I like taking my time and planning and doing all that sort of stuff. I don't like biters even in the vanilla game, so absolutely not. So next up, before the big topic, is Slaked Lime Loop. Way over yonder. Slaked Lime looping. This is producing sodium hydroxide through an intended process that takes coke in and salt in and makes sodium hydroxide out. And in the process, it loops limestone. So you have a certain amount of limestone in this system to convert into lime that then gets converted back into limestone when you make the sodium hydroxide from slaked lime. So you're slaking your limestone, and then you're getting your limestone back by, I guess, evaporating it somehow in the chem plant to get sodium hydroxide and limestone. And it's a perfect system because you end up with the same amount of limestone out as you put in. However, every single one of these steps, or most of these steps, can take productivity modules, which means that you'll end up with more limestone over time. So same thing as before, you can void the excess limestone, but I decided here not to add productivity to either of these. This is 2 red belts worth of sodium hydroxide production put onto my train network. I will likely need more than 60 per second as time goes on. But for now, that is that. And the final topic, an hour later, without actually playing the game at all, just talking and discussing various aspects of things that I have done. The final thing to discuss before we actually do anything today: advanced casting. Now, I believe I had already done... No, I have set up advanced castings. So where did I even do the advanced castings? I've completely forgotten where I've done advanced castings. Over here. This area. I think we talked about this last time. I think I did do a little bit of this last time because I remember being asked about how I was getting the wax. I did do this. I did do the copper cables. How many hours in? Like, look right up here. Top left corner of the screen. That is the current playtime. 400 hours. So, we made these going into the previous stream. I had already made them, and I discussed them, and I was making copper cables out of them. I am now making iron sticks out of them. About 6 red belts worth of throughput of iron sticks. Just just cuz, you know, it's matching, so it's 180 per second. And I am also producing small parts through advanced casting at this moment in time, and there will likely be more that I produce out of advanced casting because I have done a lot of comparisons of the options, and as it turns out, for the most part, it is always going to be better to advanced cast. There are a few exceptions, those being iron pipes are not better overall, and you don't need to do gears because the small parts are really good as well. Which stage of the game am I at? I am in the mid-game. I have chemical science packs as well as pie science. We did that last time. We got pie science packs last time, so we are now slowly going to be working towards getting purple science, production science packs. That's the next science level we're working towards. But we're just starting that journey at this point, and I have a ton of stuff that this tech level has unlocked that I need to do to move forward, and lots of efficiency improvements to make due to better recipes that I now have access to. But yeah, so I was talking here with advanced casting, just looking at my summary. So yeah, bolt casting is not better. So for bolts, it's not better. Cast the sticks and make the bolts from the sticks rather than casting the bolts. Note that this uses 23.5 molten iron. This uses 16.8 molten iron. So there's that. So the bolts are worse. The pipes are worse because you're spending advanced castings, even though the actual, like, the molten iron amounts are the same. Yeah, I think this is pretty clear. Don't do this for the pipes, the iron pipes, but for everything else, and you don't need to do it for gears because gears are only used for small parts. And small parts, did I really compare 30 to 15? 30 to 30 here. So when we look at it this way, this top one is the advanced casting. This bottom one is making small parts through the normal recipe, but casting the sticks and the gears and the bolts. I guess I shouldn't cast the bolts to get an accurate comparison, huh? It would be from the sticks there, but we see 49.2 and 20 versus 34.1 and 13.7. Yeah, these two molten values lower than these two molten values. So better to just go straight into this, even though it costs a little bit of rubber. It saves a significant amount of the metals for it, which is nice, which is very nice. It's very, very nice, and it's why I'm doing it. Same applies to niobium. Niobium is better to do the advanced casting overall. It's not as big of a deal on the pipes themselves, but it's a much bigger deal on the pipe to grounds. That is a nearly 10 times difference in the amount of niobium complex needed to do the advanced casting versus normal casting. Yeah. Versus normal casting and, like, advanced casting the pipes for it. Just, no. Multi-purpose pipes. I am doing this. I am doing this casting right now in my mall. In fact, I now have multi-purpose pipes. It's glorious. They're wonderful, even though they look like absolute garbage boxes. They are the biggest distance for the underground pipes. They've got some range. 48 max length value on them. And for these, you're no longer spending niobium when you cast these. You spend copper for these rather than niobium and rubber. You spend a tiny bit of plastic on one and, you know, just the casting and the hot air on the other. So, that's good. That's really good. And similar things apply to the engine units. Better to cast the engine units overall, in my opinion, because it's saving a ton of rubber. You spend 0 rubber on the casting of the engine units, and yeah, it just ends up slightly more on the iron, but yeah, I'll take it over the not rubber and not borax and not aluminium and not copper, you know? Yeah. Drill heads, savings. I don't know if I'll do it for drill heads, though, because it's using molten stainless steel. Just comparing the highest output normal drill head recipe versus the advanced casted drill head recipe. Yeah, it's using 1/3 of the molten stainless steel, but there are other recipes for drill heads that don't use stainless steel. So it's like, eh. The equipment chassis are better, just straight up, and the lead containers, it's night and day on the lead containers for how they compare. So yeah, lots of stuff. Oh, you're amazed by the complexity? Well, haha. Yeah, even more amazed by my skill to manage it. Yeah, I'm a bit scatterbrained at times, but experience goes a long ways. As does a tool to keep track of stuff. I mean, this is just a mess. This is just a mess of stuff. I'm not even keeping track of this. I lose track of what's where in this mess of plans and schemes. But you know, we're just gonna go with it. And with that, we're finally going to play the game. An hour and 5 minutes later. As it says in the title, today's agenda is to get into pesticides overall, because I knew I was going to have a really long conversation, because the game has fundamentally changed now that I have both Pi Science and Chemical Science packs. Everything has changed. So many things have become unlocked through technologies at this point that it's going to be really hard to keep track of all of the stuff that I still need to do. It's just explosion of new stuff available, and more efficient ways of doing everything that I've been doing to this point. Near enough, anyway. So, I had to pick somewhere where we were going to start, and that somewhere is going to be with pesticides, because, frankly, between getting pesticides, between getting more silver for more fetal serum for the cub raising, etc., like, those are really big things that I need to get going here to vastly improve plant and animal outputs. I really need to improve the plant and animal outputs. I really need to get a good production going on more advanced creatures like Muckmo, so that I can slaughter them for their blood and their guts in particular, and so I can get more manure out of them. By the way, if you've never seen Pi Alien Life before, yes, you get manure from your animals, and you have to process the manure, and you use it. Yeah, like you are making a literal manure factory on top of getting all of your animals going. And yes, you are required to slaughter your animals in a slaughterhouse to produce various pieces and bits and bobs. This one's making meat. I've got others making guts and others making blood and all sorts of other doodads everywhere. Bones. Slaughter them for their bones. Slaughter them for their brains to make neuroprocessors. Hey, brains for neuroprocessors. There's a ton of stuff to do. A ton of new creatures to add to the base that I haven't set up yet. Like right now, we've got Cotton Gut, we've got Corlex, we've got Ulrich, and we've got Vrauk. Those are the only animals that I have. Fish. I have fish. Okay. And sponges. Fish and sponges. Those are technically animals as well. I don't even have Augs set up. I don't have Muckmo set up. The cows. I don't have all the new stuff coming up. We've got Simics. We've got Trits. We've got the Zipier. We've got Ziffo. Oh, goodness. We'll have Arthurians. We'll have Fadi eventually. We'll have Phonics. And for plants, we've got the Crydron that we could set up that I think needs Arthurians or something that they eat. We've got more plants and fungi than we do the other animals. So I should have all of the buildings that I need to make pesticides. Let's go ahead and figure out where I want to do this. I'm uncertain exactly where. I need to expand my rails again. We'll do it over here. How big of a station on this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I can fit 10 in there. Let's head on over. Oh yeah, I have Megadars now. I just remembered that. Yeah, Megadar. The glorious Megadar. It uses 1.2 megawatts each, but it's 4 times the coverage, at least, if not more, than a regular radar. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit between my rails. I can't put it between my rails. So it'll have to just work for me. Also, I can work with nanobots for now. Glorious nanobots, rather than my flea bots. My constructo fleas. Right, you there. Oh yeah, looking at my train, I'm realizing that there was an issue at my fuel stop that I had to try to take care of. So with my trains, they're high-tech trains. They run off of batteries, special Nextlit batteries, and when they use up a battery, they produce a spent battery in the output. So when they come in to refresh and get more batteries, they're also offloading their spent batteries that's going into particle accelerators to recharge those batteries. But this chest, even though I have a prioritized input to use the batteries that have been recharged, this chest was accruing batteries. And I was thinking to myself, why is this accruing batteries? Well, it was because I had slow mini loaders on here. I had chutes on here which cap at 3.75 on the output. Items per second on the output. But 2 stack inserters move way more than 3.75 per second, right? These move way more product than 3.75 per second. So this wasn't able to keep up with the inserters loading the fresh batteries into the trains. And it would never be able to reuse all of the batteries that I had. So I had to come over here to put faster loaders on just so that I could actually use my recharged batteries, because it was going to constantly add some fresh production batteries in every single cycle until I clog up, basically. So I'm glad I caught that before it became a problem, because it was going to become a problem. This is why I'm constantly going and checking on things. Megadar. Glorious, I can see. Also, sadly, this nickel needs to die. In fact, most of the ore resources at this point can be deleted. I don't need the ore resources anymore now that I have the power of the Megamind. Now that I have Megamines that are giving me 690 per second plus 20%, I now have 20% mining productivity, and that applies to these mines as well. So they give 690 times 1.2. Yeah, 828 ore per second. And they're actually giving that amount. Don't think that the game is actually limiting it by the tick rate anymore, because that changed apparently a while back at this point, where you are actually going to get the full output from the mine, even if it is going faster, quote unquote, faster than the tick rate. It's outputting all of it. So this for every single main ore type in the game, without having to spend any syngas on it, is fantastic. Alright, kill the trees. Kill the trees. Kill all the trees! Oh, I've got an ollie next to me sleeping. I just noticed. I've got one of the kitties next to me. Okay. Train station. How many solids do I need? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 solids in this train station. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. I'm, of course, using Train Supply Manager, if you're wondering, for those new around here. I much prefer it over Train Supply Manager. Over LTN, Logistic Train Network. TSM, I don't like having multiple items being output from a single station. I just fundamentally don't like that concept because it's extremely prone to mistakes. It's like, oh, just don't make mistakes then. No one is that perfect, excuse me. Like, I don't want the potential for mistakes. There's a difference. Like, I don't have to make mistakes if I physically can't make the mistake. Okay? I'd rather not be able to actually have a chance of a mistake than just paying very close attention to not make a mistake. Just, no. Screw that. Screw that in its entirety. And then how many fluids do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? Just enough space. Just enough clearance. Okay. Train station. All done. Speaking of train stations, I do have a train station on the other side of the MIBC build over here. This is meant for Aerofloat 15, so I will eventually be doing that over here. I've got it all planned out. That is another one of those ingredients that's used in more advanced metal processing. Does the mod make any changes on the military side? Short answer is no. It does make some adjustments to, or it adjusts the military science recipe to use the resources in the game, but it's not a big difference. It uses lead plates and aluminium plates as pi resources from raw ores, and I think the walls and magazines I think use lead as well. Yeah, so now the magazines are steel and lead primarily, although you could do coal, stone, iron for the basic recipe. yeah, there's really no difference here. There's no extra weapons and such. There was a plan. It was on the agenda to add aspects to the mod that were more focused around actual like combat and the alien life side of things, like the actual aliens on the surface. It was planned out originally that Alien Life would have a counterpart called Aliens that would take the creatures that were added in Alien Life and have them like as actual creature entities, biter type entities on the planet, or at least some of them. But that was thrown out the window once they actually looked into the work involved to do all of the artwork necessary for that, how much artwork would be needed for that, because you need, in order to make a biter, a new model that like follows the mechanics of biters, that's just another creature, you need animations on 8 different rotations. You need animations that are consistent across rotations, and each rotation is a different image that you need to draw, because you need the 4 diagonals and you need the 4 sides as well. You need motion in every direction and animations for that, for each direction, and they have to seamlessly blend into each other. It's a lot of work, and you're talking about doing this on a scale of more than 10 creatures, like 15 plus animals, when it would take several hundred, if not 1,000 hours just to do one from one person. So the concept for aliens has been thrown out the window. It's gone. It's like it's not going to exist pretty much at any point. We will have a Factorio 2 before that would even remotely be close to being done, if they were to try to do it. But there may eventually be weapon packs and such to make it easier to play through to play through the whole pie suite with biters enabled. Maybe one day, but it's not particularly high on the agenda right now. Right now, there's work being done on a new piece, an entirely new mod for Pyandons set called Alternative Energy. They're working on alternative ways of getting power, even more ways of getting power. Yes, oh, those pipes. Yeah, those pipes. I now have those pipes. Yeah, these pipes. These pipes, I've said it from the very day that they were introduced into the mod set that I hate these pipes. I hate the design of these pipes. The straight segments, I actually like. I do like the straight segment as it is, the like vertical and horizontal on these pipe segments. These junctions, though, the junction would be okay. The issue is Pyandon made the undergrounds the same exact model as the junctions. I don't understand why. It's just the junction with a little stick piece. This this end piece that already exists as part of the normal straight segment is just spliced onto the intersection piece to make the underground in its rotations. And initially, they didn't have these little arrows. They didn't have these little arrows initially. I had to complain to get even the arrows added onto these, because there's no way in hell that you can tell which direction these things are going when you're zoomed out. They are removing combustion mixture in its entirety. I'm assuming that's with alternative energy. That would kill my base. That would immediately kill my base. I would hope that they have something, that they're just changing it to be something else. Like, I've never really liked this mechanic of combustion mixture, because it's difficult to know how much energy you're actually getting out of this temperature-based fluid. So I'm okay with them removing this. Although I would imagine that the combustion turbines are being modified to work with some quote-unquote other fluid or fluids that have a specific fuel value that gives you that you're able to determine the amount of energy that you're going to get out of it. Ideally, because the thing about this combustion mix, there's a whole bunch of recipes that make combustion mix at different temperatures, and it's really hard to calculate like what that really means on the actual output power on these turbines, comparing the temperature of the fluid to the mix here on the turbine. Yeah, any existing base will die when Alternative Energy releases, especially because it's also going to come with an entire balance pass. I would highly suggest not starting a playthrough of Pyandons if you want to play with Alternative Energy when it releases, just because it is going to change so much, and there's a balance pass coming to the entire mod suite. Along with it, it's going to change the whole thing. The entire Pyandons mods will change with it. Not okay. I imagine that raw ores isn't really going to fundamentally change at all. Like, the actual processing chains for ores, likely not touched. There might be some adjustments to some of the numbers on the ores, maybe. But there's, especially with Pi Alien Life in particular, the most recent addition to the Pi suite, there's going to be a lot of changes in numbers for things, and it's going to have a lot of bigger changes in these. But a lot of the more existing, older parts of the mod set, I think it's really just a tech overhaul, going through the actual tech tree to improve things, which has been needed for a long time in reality. Oh, I only need one, actually, of those. Yes, I am going to be spending refined syngas. Yeah, you see, the thing is, while yes, I would have all of the infrastructure, the problem is that it would take well over 100 hours, or even 200 hours, just to fix all the things that it broke. Right? Like, the base will be broken completely, and it would be really, really difficult to recover from that, especially since they're going to be doing things like disabling vanilla chemical plants to add in a new pie chemical plant. There's going to be a new chemical plant building that's much larger than a vanilla chemical plant. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to disable this. So every single process in my entire base that currently uses the vanilla chemical plant will likely still exist and still function. It's just that I won't be like there'll be a new building to use for chemical plants going forward. It's like, okay, sure, fine. Because this will just be gone. I won't be able to add any more production of chemical plants anywhere. And we'll see what other buildings are added, like functional buildings are added or replaced. We'll see if they decide to do anything with the stupidity of these bitumen seeps, giving finite outputs of oil. Like, excuse me, but no, I refuse. One of you, right? Just the one. Ah, yes, that's why I have this guy over here. Do I need the hydrogen for anything? I don't think so. So let me void that hydrogen. Right, also, unlike some other mod sets, this mod is absolutely designed with the ability to void everything in mind. You absolutely do not have to use absolutely everything that exists. Or that's output. That's a exercise in futility. That is my alarm saying that we're halfway through the stream today, but I don't feel the need to take a break at the moment, so we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, we're already an hour and a half in today, and I've done this. I have made this. That's it. Now in an hour and a half. A lot of it was just discussion and talking. Like, oh yeah, that's normal. Normal. So you're saying it's normal? Yes, I am. Normal day. Next up, you. One making this. Oh right, I have to add another. Frick, I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I need another. I need a solid fuel. I need a solid fuel. So I need another one of these. Unfortunate, but it happens. Because while, yes, I can include the recipe that makes this phosphorus pentasulfide out of pyrite as well to use up this pyrite, I'm then faced with iron ore that needs to be deleted, and I'm just not going to bother. I'm just not going to bother with processing the pyrite into the pentasulfide. I'm just going to delete it. It will be removed from the face of existence. Although you will need both sulfur and phosphate rocks in. This is not going to be the first time that I need the phosphorus pentasulfide. I will need this to make, I think it's cryolic acid. Pentasulfide, phosphorus, pentasulfide. Oh, it's directly into Aerofloat 15. Okay. Which also needs the cryolic acid. This stuff I'm going to need for zinc processing, as well as Aerofloat 15. And this is involved in chromium, nickel, and zinc. Yeah. So this is one of the things, those intermediate inputs that's required for ore processing. I want, like, do we want to spend an entire stream just making things like Aerofloat 15, xylenol, biofilm, ammonium chloride, syngas via bitumen is what I've been thinking about as a better way of getting the syngas, methanol, glycerol, sodium chloride, Armac 12D, Alamac, hydrogen peroxide, kerosene, soda ash regen solution, grease, slaked lime, as slaked lime rather than the loop, the Z3 reagent, oleochemicals, petroleum sulfonates, acid solvent, diesel. A lot of these things, some of them are used for other stuff, but many of these things are only used in more advanced ore processing, like the Armac 12D and the Alamac and Z3 reagent and the petroleum sulfonates and the acid solvent and Aerofloat 15. MIBC, which I did set up off screen. It's like, do we want to see these? The production of these, they don't really involve any trickery. Like, there's not much new stuff involved with producing them right now. Because I was thinking xylenol is bitumen and Nexolite in particular. Xylenol is that. I will need grease. We'll probably do grease together. It's used for a bit more stuff because I want to do diamonds. I've got a plan for diamonds. It's just that I will need a lot of grease for the diamonds and a lot of slaked lime and soda ash and lime for that, and industrial solvent as well. So yeah, it's just lots of stuff. Yeah, pesticides are very, very nice. They are very, very strong. Vast improvements. So that will be that one. Methanol. I know full well that I'm going to be needing methanol for more than just this. Or excuse me, ethanol, not methanol. Ethanol. Ethane. The ethanol. The alcohol. There are two recipes for this, by the way. This is a new recipe to get into ethanol. Originally, there was only this one using Fauci alien bacteria and B-type molasses, which needed tephra to get into, and the alien bacteria needed serine from camouts. I am very, very happy that we can now make ethanol out of arcod honey and manure bacteria, because all that needs is arcods, which we've already made at this stage of the game. It's really convenient. It's really, really convenient, and I am realizing that I have done this poorly. That's better. 20% productivity has been added to this bioreactor. I think I did the same thing on these, didn't I? Yes, I did. How unfortunate. I need to cut these and paste them back down because, again, 20% productivity. Yeah. It slows them down by 15%, but, 20% productivity is better. Next up, you. Should I offset you by 1? Yep. You take in aluminium and acid gas that's being produced from over here. Da-da-da. Da-da. There you go. There's the acid gas and the ethanol and the aluminium plates. The aluminium. Aluminium! The yummiest. The yummiest of the alumin. Alright, that one's making ethyl mercaptan. Ethyl mercaptan. Next up. Oh, we need this for the next thing as well. This guy. Hello, this guy. So that means one of these over here. You need the pentasulfide. And you are making, DDA. Diethyl. I can't. Dithiphosphoric. Dithiphosphoric acid. Man, that, yeah. Diethyl dithiphosphoric. That's a word. What are those god-awful looking pipes? Bring back the niobium pipes. No. Unfortunately, these are going to be the pipes that we use for the rest of the game. They are boxes. Yes, it's boxes for the rest of the game, unfortunately, because the... Yes, I know DDA is a real thing. It's just hard to pronounce. Because that is the distance. Because these have a gap of 47. Yes, diethyl dithio phosphoric. Yes, dithio. The next thing is a pre-pesticide 2. Now they call this DDA, but do we actually have... No, we don't actually have DDT. Interesting. That's weird. You know, this whole system was made by Immortal Sniper, by the way. To bring back shiny chrome. I can't. I mean, for this purpose, it would be fine, but I've moved on. I consider them tiered, and I'm gonna use these going forward, especially because these pipes are cheaper than the niobium pipes. Okay? The multi-purpose pipes are, in fact, cheaper than the niobium pipes. And I'm using advanced castings to cast them right now. I have infinity of them available to me, and I need niobium pipes as ingredients for infrastructure. Ah, boy. Yeah, I've actually looked at this over here. So my pipes, to make 1 per second of these pipe to grounds, I'm using like 1.8 molten copper and 0.2 plastic. Right now, I'm not doing the casting of the niobium pipes, but even if I did, I'd be using niobium complex. These don't even use niobium complex. They're not even using niobium. Ahem. Subject to change at any point. I could have sworn that there was a mod that adds DDT, that has DDT as a thing, which I'm trying to remember what it was, because I don't think it's this. This one, die. Or you know what? The pesticide 1 still uses the venom. It's using MCB. Monochlorobenzene. Maybe this is DDT. Maybe this is supposed to be an equivalent to. Oh my gosh, these pipes. These pipes. Believe me, I will be complaining about these pipes until the end of days. I hate these pipes. I hate using these pipes, but they're cheap, so I'm going to use them. I like this segment. I like this segment. I like these. I like these. Okay? I like these. I don't like this. Heck, I like the intersection. The intersection as the intersection is fine. It's fine. The intersection as the intersection is fine. The problem is the pipe to ground. The problem is the pipe to ground. It should be, like, smoothed. It should be, like, just, like, bent plastic. It should look like a rounded-edged bent plastic going down into the ground. Slash several bits and bobs, because this is like a some sort of bundled enclosure of pipes, really. Just like each one just bent to go down. But no, I guess Pi got lazy this day when making these pipes, and decided, you know what, we're just going to use the intersection as the pipe to ground. And it took a real fight just to get the arrows on the thing. It's like, okay, sure. I did manually place these. That's good, because I needed to do that. And then you. It's actually really, really simple. This one building gives me 25. I mentioned earlier, but this concept of pesticides... Pi, bug off. This concept of pesticides and the implementation of it was done by Immortal Sniper, who has done a lot of balancing stuff for the Pi mods. Help with balancing stuff, done lots of math. Big math person. And it turns out that the pesticides are actually one of the better processes. It's not killer. It's not going to kill you with all the with the input requirements for it. You get a lot out of pesticides for the amount of stuff that you're shoving in. Granted, it was made a little bit more complex with the introduction of the Archod Venom, but, or, you know, I think, gosh, I'm trying to remember the timing. I think it used Archod Venom normally, because I think this did come out after Archods did. Archods are one of the newer creatures that were added after Alien Life released. All right, let's get the stuff brought in. Get that pin back. All right, item by item. First item for here. Actually, do I want it to be this shared belt sulfur phosphate? Let's do the sulfur phosphate first. It will be a shared belt. And then over time, I actually need less pesticide because future recipes are going to be using other advanced ingredients that are going to vastly increase the output for the amount of pesticide brought in. Yeah, I don't really know why the pesticide one is placed where it is and why it's there, really. There's really no reason to use it. There's, yeah, just, you unlock, the problem is that you unlock both of them at the same tech tier. So it's like, okay. Give me sulfur. Give me phosphate rocks, wherever that lives. I've forgotten. Right there. Bring me these two. The next one is Archod. Archod. Pesticides. Arcod. Let there be Arcod. No, you haven't, but thank you so much for that. I do put some degree of effort on these stations. Yeah, they are designed with this spacing specifically for this purpose. Specifically for this purpose. Yeah, but the getting here is the hard part. That most definitely. Getting to this phase of the game is a slog. I will say that freely and openly all the time. Getting to this point is difficult. By the way, the rest of the game is actually pretty easy. For reference, we are past what I would consider the hard part. Like, what? Aren't all the new things going to be using like infinity ingredients and such? Yes, but there are very few new basic resources that we will need to make going forward. Most of the things that we are making use of things that we already have. The hard part is setting up the like foundation. Now we're building the house on top of the existing foundation, pretty much. Like we have all of the ingredients. The problem was getting all of the ingredients to move forward. There are a few things. There are a few that we will need to do that are complex, but it's not going to be. We're not going to be in a situation where we have to wait for production for anything. Right, the thingy. I need to void this. And by the time you get here, you have enough experience to know what to expect of the mods as well. The hardest. Should I word it as the hardest part is behind us, rather than saying that the hard part is behind us? I think we would probably agree that the hardest part is behind us. Now we just get to have an interesting time setting up a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't require as much work to get into. I mean, for the animals, it'll involve a lot of waiting around for stuff, but we'll be fine. This one's gonna be our coke at pesticides. That'll be coke. Really, the hardest part going forward is scaling. Scaling, getting more stuff. Getting more stuff. Even more stuff. Yeah, this is most definitely the fun stage going forward. The far better, more fun stage. Circuit 3s and stuff are not as daunting as Circuit 2s. There's been new stuff added that makes it a bit harder, unfortunately, but it was necessary. Do I even have a Circuit 3 on here? I could have sworn I had a Circuit 3 on here. Dark blue, right there. Yeah, right next to Circuit 2s. Like, oh my god, so many steps, so many things. Well, we have fiber, optical fiber. We have circuit 2s, we have MOSFETs, uh, we have solder. Like, okay, what's actually new here? We need neuromorphic chips, the cooling systems, the multi-layer SMD capacitors, the SMD diodes, the high-frequency SMD inductors, the mounted circuit substrate, the processor, the low-powered resistors, and the gold. Well, the gold's not going to be that bad. The neuromorphic chips, well, what's new among this neuromorphic chips? We have biofilm, nanocrystalline cellulose, and paramagnetic material. So we have 3 things. All that other stuff we have in some way, shape, or form already, or we have already made in one way, shape, or form. The low power capacitors, we need epoxy and phosphate glass. Those are 2 new things, of which they're not that big. It's really a volume thing. Graphene is new. Graphene is going to be a chain to get into for the processors. So graphene is a bit of a chain. You know, gold, processor cores. Industrial solvent we're going to be making anyway. Bio batteries are perhaps the biggest pain. Bio batteries will be the biggest pain of circuit 3s. Here again, epoxy. Gosh, just breaking this down, all these ingredients. Kevlar we have. Next lit plates we have. Advanced coatings is an ingredient for purple science. Chitosan we'll need for other stuff as well. There's the graphene again. We have all this other stuff. We'll have niobium iron alloy. There's that graphene again. Chitin for the chitosan. Now we're working on the chitosan. That chitin we need, but it's pretty easy. The mutant enzymes needs propeptides and calmodulin binding mutant peptides. That life stuff will be more difficult, but and the paramagnetic material needs the myoglobin, needs, you know, life stuff. The life aspects will be the difficult parts here. Vanadium is a chain, yes, that we'll need to do. I contend that vanadium is not difficult. It looks worse than it is. As I have come to discover, the first time I looked at vanadium, the first time I ever saw vanadium, I was scared beyond belief. But it's actually not all that bad in practice. Once you set it up, it's not that bad. Okay, I need... Oh, I didn't actually ever bring the venom over. Hello? Oh, come on. Where's the venom? Where'd the venom go? Oh, the venom is here, so why am I... Hold up. Venom. You go there. You... Yeah, this goes... here. Oh boy. That makes more sense. And then this guy... goes there. Oh boy. Yeah, the underground sprites suck. In particular. I don't like them either. It's like a bunch of boxes. It's a bunch of boxes that you can't really easily tell what goes where. It's like, yeah, I know they suck. I complain about it constantly. And I shall continue to complain about it constantly. What's the next solids? The, oh, I need... Huh? Sulfur by itself. Okay. Well, that's fine then. That's actually pretty easy. And then you need molybdenum. Moly plus methane. We'll start with methane. The other... Okay, there is one other very important aspect to these pipes that will make a lot of sense as to why I'm using them. You see, these pipes are indestructible by impact damage. You can't break them by running into them with a vehicle. They are immune. So we were requesting which one? Methane? Pesticides. Alright, bring me my methane, please. Please! Methane! Yeah, Crawdaddy is still around. It's up in the... It's up here. I do use it from time to time to expand the rail network. Bit better freedom of movement. I have unlocked... Tell me again how your trains will impact pipes. Well, the Crawdad that I have can impact pipes, as can the Dingrito. That can impact pipes, which I was just about to say. I can officially consider making the Dingrito, which is basically a fast tank. It's a giant wolf to ride around on. I could make it, but I've also unlocked the Pesticides, which flies and won't destroy anything either. So it's like, okay, I'd rather wait for the Pesticides and use my train in the meantime. I'll probably still use the train even when I get the Pesticides. Because that's just how it goes sometimes. You are the refined syngas. I need that. Almost got hit by a train. Request refined syngas at Pesticides. Where does refined syngas live? I never remember. Oh, it's here. Just vanilla. No, Fat Eye says Phandaisus. It is a armored, think armor, like carapaced tiger with dragon wings. Oh wow, Tex, hello. More research. Keep on researching. Fat Isis. There, right there. It's made out of a fat eye. It gives it wings. Yeah, these things are the dancing armored cats, as I tend to call them, the fat eyes. They dance, and they dance, and they dance until their carapace falls off. They dance to disco. On the disco floor. One of my favorite concepts. It's my favorite concept for the creatures is the dancing armored tiger. All right, bring in Molly ore. Request Molly ore at Pesticides. Did I even spell that right? Yes. Molybdenum. Molybdenum? Molybdenum? Oh, it's infusion. It's infusion energy. Oh boy. If you could ride a Xeno, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, the Pyandon hasn't made a Xeno yet. I can just imagine the amount of work that went into making 3 rideable creatures. Like, my goodness, that it's roughly equivalent to the amount of work involved in trying to make them into biters, except those would need more animations. Even more animations. Because again, each vehicle needs the animation of the creature moving in each direction. That, I mean, it's really just the horizontal, the vertical, because they're mirrored most of the time, and then the diagonals. And the animations have to sync with each other as you transition between the horizontal or vertical and the horizontals. They have to like transition. And it has to look nice. It has to look nice. Okay, now we need 2 things. I'm going to need to move these over a little bit to there and there. Not really there. There we go. So this first one is what now? This one is the manure bacteria, and the other one is the honey. So manure bacteria and honey. Okay. Request manure bacteria at pesticides. Our honey at pesticides. This is arcod honey and manure bacteria. So give me that and give me honey. Give me honey. Although I probably wouldn't trust the honey made out of these bees. I probably wouldn't want to eat the honey coming out of these bees. Do we have anything moving of these bees? No, of course not. These hi. Would you trust the honey made out of something that looks like that? I don't know if I would trust the honey made out of something that looks like that. That looks like a literal flying maggot. You're in the middle of upgrading a few thousand Pybots. And you have yet to find a way to grab the old Mark 1s. There are mods. There are bot replacer mods that will that work by giving you access to a special requester chest type that is able to pull out the assigned robot from the logistic network anytime they go into a box. The one that I have tended to use is unfortunately one that has not been updated since like 0.17. and I've just been manually editing it to make it function. But yeah, I haven't used it yet. I haven't really seen a need to replace my Mark 1 construction bots in my main area at this point. But yeah, I'll have to when I get my logistic bot upgrades going. Once we have Super Steel and I have Mark 2 Logi bots, yeah, then I have to replace 4,329 Logi bots with the better bots. It's like, okay, nah. What I would do is I would set up the modded requester box to request the bots from the logistics system, and then, you know, just have it offloaded directly into the thing that's upgrading them. Does this take productivity? Of course not. So let's see. That's done. Now I need aluminium plates. Aluminium. Time for some aluminium. Alumin. The yummy alumin. Request aluminium. At pesticides. The yummiest. Yeah. Yeah, those pumps are strong. Yeah, unfortunately, the Factorio does not simulate viscosity of fluids. Yeah, go through. Last one is plastic. Request plastic at pesticides. Huh. And that should mean that that is done. I just need to connect these pipes here. And that is that. Give me the output. Bring it up. Bring it over. Up and over. And that is pesticides. Pesticides. I don't remember what the stack size is on pesticides. SD full cargo circuit condition go. What is your stack size? 100. Okay, we can fit a few extra stacks of those. There they go. There's the pesticides. Q like the Hallelujah chorus or something. The bug off. Bug off. Pesticides. Effectively DDT. Yeah, good thing you won't eat these plants. Yeah, whatever. On the undergrounds. I've got infinity belts at this point. I'm not as concerned anymore about my belt usage and the length of the undergrounds. I should do the math here. That I'm making 15 per second. So, oh yeah, just answered that. I'm making 15 per second. 2,000 divided by 15. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, that's fine for the amount of stuff. Yeah, that's fine. 2 minutes ish of production. assuming everything is moving at the rates that I'm assuming that they're moving at. Assuming everything is functioning, it will be 15 per second of production. But, you know, assumptions. Okay, I need to get rid of a lot of these requests. To free up some inventory space here. And head back to restock, because the next thing that we are going to work on is not Tufra. It is Archods. Because I don't have the Archod production to maintain the 15 per second of stuff there. So instead, we're going to do this. We're gonna do this process here. So for this, I'm going to need my creature chambers. I'm going to need my incubators. I'm going to need Vrauk paddocks. I'm going to need apiaries. I'm going to need my compost plants, as well as factories. I need light oil refineries. That'll make Pyandon happy. Using the light oil refinery. I need the olefin plant, and that should be the remaining stuff that I need to request from here. Yeah, my inventory is just screaming at me. Need more space. Need more space. I don't need those Kukalk. I do want those Dufra, actually. For later. I'm carrying 92 Archods. I need more than that. I need 104, but fortunately I have Archods. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, right. I'm not... Yeah. One more thing is important as part of this. I need to make some empty honeycombs. I need to make some of these empty honeycombs. Yes, I will not need as many. Like, I don't need to input empty honeycombs onto this once I have enough to keep it flowing. But I do need some. And the best way to do that is out of wax. Of which what building do I need for that? What building? Just a casting unit. Okay, that's another thing to request. Is the oh, I'm already requesting casting units for whatever reason. Yeah, apparently I'm already requesting those. All right, that's fine. I need to go to a factory somewhere that I need to go to the advanced castings. Where are the advanced castings? I never remember. Where are those advanced castings? Oh. Betting. Yes, the main bus is gone. Completely deleted from the face of existence. That was a bit of work going into the previous stream. I'm pretty sure is when I did that, but yeah, it's gone. Kaput. No longer required. Got rid of it. I now have a better betting recipe that triples the output for the cost of formic acid. AKA why I got more Vrauk online between streams. I plan on upgrading this to the formic acid process. Where are my advanced castings? You know what? Just here. Advanced. They're here. They are over here. Why is it important? Because over here I have wax that I can use to make these empty combs. I'm making wax as part of one of the ingredients to do the advanced castings. I have 5 advanced castings per second of production down here, which is, you know what? Plenty for my current purposes. For my current purposes. Give me casting unit. You are going to make this out of wax. That is the machine. Thank you. Thank you. Just offload that into a box for me, please. I'll be back for you. Yeah, it's a bit of wax. A bit more than this, actually. Yeah, I'll be back for you. You have a stack size of 50. Oh boy. I was trying to figure out if full rendering was worth it over grabbing specific part I wanted. Did I ever come to a final conclusion on that? The answer is that it will depend on how many parts you need from a specific animal. Because overall, full rendering will give you more volume of output, but it's less of each individual item. So if you're using the parts, a bunch of the parts, full rendering can be okay, but if you're just going to get rid of the majority of them, then no. And I just will tend to do the individual slaughtering where I need the individual products. So I don't need any natural gas. I'm about to make 2.1 archods. My pesticide, Mark 1, it needs 1.3 archods to get 15 pesticides. The gloriousness of the 20% productivity on slaughterhouses. Yeah, so I'm raising maggots here. This is why. This is the best part of all this, because we get 40% productivity on the creature chambers. We also get 22% productivity on the incubators. So we only need, as an input here, 7.6 tall oil. Pretty much. I mean, that's where this bitumen is coming in. It's all these steps here, these like 5-6 things, are just making the tall oil for the processing of the filled combs, to make filled combs that we then use with Vrauk plus Archod to make an Archod nest that we then throw into Vrauk paddocks to make Archod eggs that we hatch and raise into Archods. So that's what we'll work towards here. It's a far more efficient recipe. Far more efficient recipe. Yeah, vanilla and Factorio, do you ever feel bad about your environmental impact with all the pollution and the biters fighting you? And then you get Pyandons mods, which is like, oh hey, yeah, you're gonna be feeding creatures to other creatures and using them as nests to make a new creature, and literally raising Xenos inside of another creature. Yeah, so nests, eggs, pups, all of these are significantly better than even the best recipes of producing like caged creatures. and the actual creatures themselves. It's night and day. Really, I don't know why a lot of the other recipes even exist when these do, because these are very significantly better. Speaking of which, Archods I'm making over here. This is going to be a replacement to this. So I'm going to do this over here. Yeah, all this is going to be done over here, and it will replace this natural gas process for making Archods. And fortunately or unfortunately, that means I will need to extend my thingy a bit. Humma. So I've got the bitumen already. I've got... What do I even need? I need hot air and... Okay, I do need the benzene for the steam. I need aromatics. Oh gosh. I'm just thinking of the new stations that I need. Okay, bedding. Vrauk food. And Vrauk. Gosh, I hope I have enough room. And then fetal serum, hot air, aromatics. We did it! There was enough space. Unless I've missed anything, I'm pretty sure that that's that. Pretty sure that that is that. Oh, by the way, I've like really informed folks about the power, how powerful it is to raise the pups and the eggs, and in this case maggots, over time. And you know, they King Arthur and Pyandon just went ahead and added productivity to these buildings. It's like, okay, let's make a good thing even better. What do I slaughter for guts? Eventually it will be Mukmo, but right now it's Ulrich. I'm making a bit of fetal serum right now. That is something I will need to scale. So I can't do this much at this point in time until I get Mukmo. Because that's going to give me the guts. Once I get Mukmo for the guts, and once I get high-grade silver processing done, that's gonna vastly improve my fetal serum output and allow me to do a lot more of this raising. This is really the bottleneck of doing this way. But I am a bit backed up right now with fetal serum and have plenty of Ulrich to give me my things. I'm gonna take a remaining stack of Archon just to have. Oh boy. Yeah. Let's start with you, because again, this is replacing the current infrastructure to an extent. It will be a little difficult. Just a smidge. I'm gonna want to steal the empty barrels, actually, from this. Yeah, I'm gonna want to steal the empty barrels to reuse them for the tall oil. I don't need as many of the barrels, but I do need some at the least. So that is just making the hydrogen so I can process the bitumen into crude oil, into heavy oil, into naphtha, into tall oil. Yes, the intricate webs we weave. Okay, there's bitumen. Yeah, I know I'm doing all that over there as well to get into natural gas, but I want this to keep moving for the moment. At least for this moment in time. Okay, you're making crude oil. Ta-da. This needs steam. Of course. Oh, I didn't actually request the... Oops. Sigh. Benzene. Go, go, go. Go, go, gadget benzene. So many buildings. Not surprised that I missed one. I need a steam cracker. Of course there's none here. Oh yeah, this is going to save me so much tin and chromium and nextlet by doing this way. Multi-pronged plans here that are improving output and reducing input wherever I can. My goals are use less metals and also make more metals. In particular, make more, use less. Same with my bitumen over here overall, because as you can see, there's some things that I'm going to use bitumen for that I need it for. Whenever possible, like with the ore mining, why I've used megamines now is because I don't need to spend bitumen on making syngas anymore for mining ores. At all, for any of the things that need syngas or coal gas. Like, I don't need to use my bitumen to make the tar anymore for any of that. And actually, for the situations where I do need syngas, I'm actually planning at some point to actually process bitumen into syngas. I was looking at it and I was like, huh, you know, to get 400 units of syngas, we can let 400 units of syngas, it would need 80 bitumen versus 130. While having 130 over here to do it through coal gas into like the oxygen, more syngas output. It's like I could spend 130 or I could spend 0.2 filtration media to make it 80. And you know what? I'm thinking of doing it this way, especially since we are on the cusp of the best filtration media recipes. At least there are two that are really good up here. We don't get the top one yet, but we do get this one, and it is now available. Finally, now that I can actually do Kaido-san. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, though, due to those inputs to make the nanofibrils, but I'm willing to do it. I need the nanofibrils anyway for, you know, bio batteries. Oh god, the problem with the bio batteries is that you need so many. What made biobatteries a pain in my previous playthrough? Alien bacteria. What made alien bacteria a pain in my previous playthrough? Serine. And basic substrate? Yeah. Just the volume of basic substrate was a pain as well as the serine. But the serine is taken care of with proper come-out production and processing. Alright, I should have my stuff. Let's get back. Lots to think about and consider. Lots and lots and lots. How's these texts going? Oh, look, I need to queue more. Almost done. And you know, there's so much to do that I could spend my entire weekend playing this and, like, barely make a dent. The thing is, though, this weekend in particular, there's a game that's released today called Total War Warhammer 3 that I own. That I do now own. That I would like to play over the weekend. You know, that thing. Total War game. I say that, and I haven't really touched Warhammer 2 in a long time, so I'm sure I'm extremely rusty, and I only had 205 hours in Warhammer 2. Quote unquote. Only had that many hours. What about Warhammer 1? What about Warhammer 1? I think I had barely even like 60 hours in that one. Where are you? 39.9 on Warhammer 1. Yeah, I didn't really like Warhammer 1. But then compare that to like Shogun 2, which has over 300 hours. Most of the Total War games that I have on Steam, I put very little time into, actually. How do I only have 168.3 on Empire? What? How do I only have 168 on Empire? Did they, like, reset the time at some point? I could have sworn I had way more than that. I literally killed a laptop graphics card on Empire. Yeah, Shogun 336 hours. Shogun 2. I've told this story before, but I killed an Alienware laptop playing Empire Total War. Excuse me? Ah, that makes sense. My first ever laptop that I ever bought for myself was an Alienware M17X. Way back in 2009. All the way back in 2009. The first ever computer I bought for me was that laptop for school, for university. I was getting my undergraduate degree, entering for my undergraduate degree. I asked for a bit more financial aid so that I could get a computer for use for the degree. And they actually gave it to me. I was like, oh, okay. Ask and ye shall receive. But so I got this Alienware laptop, came with a hat, wore the hat all the time with the Alienware logo on it. This was just after they got bought by Dell. around that time. A year later, about a year, one year or less, I was getting blue screens. I was getting blue screens for graphics issues. The discrete graphics card was dying within a year. And I played a lot of Empire Total War during that time. And for those who don't know, Empire Total War at the time was particularly known for making your graphics card run really hot. It made your graphics card run really, really hot. So I absolutely blame that game for killing that laptop. Oh, also, one of our very few uses that we will ever have in this playthrough of the light oil refinery. Pyandon likes this machine and is always disappointed by how few people actually use this machine, how little it ends up being used. But it's here. We're using it. I'm pretty sure that he made Archons use tall oil specifically to force people to use the light oil refinery. I'm pretty sure that that is what happened there. And yeah, I will need to barrel this. But we'll worry about that in a little bit. So yeah, I let it be dead in the long term, and I would go around saying that I had bought a $1,700 hat at the time, because that's basically what I had, was a $1,700 hat. At least I think it was $1,700. It was expensive. Very, very expensive. I don't have the hat anymore. I wish I still had the hat. Pretty sure I don't have it at this point. I wore it out. Our aromatics at Arcades. Bring me aromatics. Most aromatic of aromatics. So I ended up buying a desktop in the end. I have the memories. Yeah, I have the memories. Yeah, in the end, I ended up buying a desktop that next school year because I had realized that I didn't really need a laptop computer for attending classes. And I had a smaller netbook anyway at the time that I could use to type notes. So really, I didn't need the big, bulky desktop replacement level of laptop. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to get a desktop. So I ended up buying one through iBuyPower, which is a company that still exists. I custom ordered one of their systems, which you know, story time. The computer I ordered had a shiny, brand new Intel Core i7 2600K hot off the presses, brand new, just released. Sandy Bridge Intel processor with motherboard with it. New chipset motherboard. Right at release, like within a week of release. Couple days after I placed the order, and after I got the notification that the thing has been shipped to me, there was a recall of every single Sandy Bridge motherboard because of a chipset problem that would impact the SATA ports over time, where it would cause the SATA ports to lose functionality. I also had a GTX 470 graphics card in it, which sat over the chipset. I decided not to send it in to get another motherboard for it because I wanted my computer, and I wasn't going to risk damage to the computer by sending it back and having it sent back to me once it was fixed. So I did not get the motherboard replaced. GTX 400 series, very, 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 very hot graphics cards. Extremely hot graphics cards. I lost my SATA ports within a year. I had to get, like, add-on card to add additional SATA ports to the system when I wanted more space. It was, I was not lucky. I was not a lucky one at that time. But what I ended up doing with the computer over time was I bought more memory for it. I bought SSDs for it. Couple of SSDs, ran them in RAID 0 for a little bit of time. Really, really tiny SSDs. It was like barely even anything. They were like 90 gig SSDs, a pair of them. Like not even anything, just to put a couple of games on them in RAID 0. It's like, and then 470 began to die eventually. Thank you, Empire. Total War. And all the other games that made you run really, really hot. Replaced it with a 500 series card. I forget which one. 560, I think, or 570. I forgot. It's been a long time. I don't really remember the order in which I bought of graphics cards. I know that I bought a 500 series card. I know I bought a 600 series pair of cards. 700 series pair. 900 series pair, and then my current 1080 Ti. I upgraded my 1080 Ti. I upgraded from a pair of Asus Poseidon GTX 980s, not the Ti's, the 980s, that were water cooled and all that wonderful stuff, and I just replaced it with an air-cooled 1080 Ti because I got tired of that. That was a rather expensive lesson to learn, because my desktop ended up having water cooling, and then, you know, over time my computer has evolved. At no point have I ever bought every single component to make a new computer. I have just upgraded until every part has been replaced. Upgraded it until it no longer had any of the remaining original parts. That's what happened with my original iBuyPower computer. It's just over time I replaced everything, including the case. I've actually, I think I went through at least 2 cases. Did I do 2 case replacements since 2010? I don't remember. Because it was the original case that the thing came with, and then I think one other one, and the case I have now. Just so many stuff. So many things. So many things. I had replaced the 2600K when I was a graduate student with a with Haswell E with Haswell E X99 chipset processors. I started with like the lowest end range, but decided, you know what, I want the top one. So I got the 5960X, which was $1,000 processor at the time. And I had kept that. I still have that technically around in a closet now, still attached to its motherboard, but I've replaced it with my AMD setup now because yeah, time happened, and now the Ryzen whatever 5800X is actually more powerful than that processor was, and is. The Ryzen 7 5800X, that's what I'm on now. Stronger than the 5960X. This is like, oh boy. Anyway, things. I am working on this, I swear. What did I want? I wanted the... Okay, I need to, like, have a little bit of a weird little setup here. So I'm gonna put the biomass on there. This is gonna be the this is going to be the tall oil barrels. This will be empty barrels. Split from here. The emptiest of barrels to the right. And then this down. So this is going to make the filled combs. This will be the empty combs from these guys. You have 3 inputs, so we'll do that with this spacing. So this will be the outside belt. This will be the inside belt, which is going to be the 2 critters. The 2 critters there. Output right, preferential. That is going to be Vrauk coming in, and this is going to be siphoning a little bit, tiny bit of the Archods. Okay, that then outputs the nests and the empty combs together. Empty comb, there we go, to the right, out there. Doink, 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 doink. Power over yonder. Those have the power. Vrauk paddocks are next. I need 5 of these. Looks like I don't have any Vrauk on me. That's fine. I'll find them and bring them eventually. So I will need the bedding and the food as a shared line. for these. Okay, output the eggs. So this makes the eggs. Going down. Yeah, it's... Hey, there's a reason why a lot of people consider themselves to have successfully completed a Pyandons game when they automate simple circuits. When they automate these circuits, a lot of people consider this to be the like the biggest goal, and then stop here when they see what comes after this. So yeah, just keep in mind the reason I do this is to convince more people to actually experience the rest of Pyandons mods. And you know what? More people have experienced the rest of Pyandons mods by me playing through this all the times that I have. The 2 other successful times that I have finished this playthrough anyway. So that gives the eggs. Then... Yep, that's fine. Ta-da! Plus 22% productivity. Yeah, far more people have actually completed Pi playthroughs now than when I first started this. Very few people had ever completed a Pi mods playthrough when I started playing this. I give power here and there. Okay. All of that is done, so that will be the maggots. It needs hot air. Then, one more step. We have the actual archods from the maggots. Archods from maggots. 8, 9. You saw there what happened? You see that? Unknown key, entity name, hidden beacon is in the way. Entity beacon, hidden beacon is in the way. That is going to prevent me from replacing these with Mark III buildings in the future without deconstructing. I'll have to actually pick these things up to replace them with Mark III/4 eventually. Going down. You know what? Fine. Nearly finished. Give power to the everything. Huh, yeah. I know, alien life added it doubled the complexity of the mod set. Minimum doubled the complexity compared to before. By their own admission, it spiraled a little bit too much out of control in terms of the scope and scale. Just gonna bring this over and... How convenient! Oh, that's very convenient. Thanks. I no longer need to request these. So get them out of my inventory. But we're not done yet, because I need to pick up Rauk modules, and I need to pick up... Well, I need to request the Vrauk module, the Vrauk, to bring them down here. I need Vrauk coming in here. Well, you know, originally alternative energy was supposed to be just that. Additional ways of producing energy. But I was like just thinking to myself initially, like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Oh, it'll do that, but it'll do a whole lot else too. Our Vrauk at Arcod. Bring me Vrauk. Uncaged Vrauk. Right, these use uncaged Vrauk, don't they? I just thought about that. Like, wait a minute. Are these using caged or uncaged? These are using uncaged. Yeah, uncaged. Haha. Good thing I move uncaged around on my network. How glorious. That's really good. That I am prepared for this. Ish. Hot air is next. Go this way. That'll be you. Our hot air at Arcod. And this other one is going to be our, what now? Fetal serum at Arcod. Bring me hot air. Bring me the fetalist of serum. The most fetal of fetal serum. Where are you? Where do you live? Fetal. It's in here somewhere. AE is alternative energy. It is an unreleased, upcoming addition to Pyandons mods. And it is meant to bring in additional ways of producing energy at all phases of the game, at least as many as it can. There will be various turbines and such. Various turbines, yes. How specific of me. How very specific. Turbines! Yes. And what kind of turbines? What's the motive force behind those turbines? Stuff and things. Things. So I need a few empty barrels here. I don't need these barrels. I need the emptiest. I need the empties. You know what? Just go into the thingy there. On the Pi community Discord, there's a whole bunch of preview images of the things that are coming in, including a nuclear rework. I just remembered that. There's going to be, like, Americanium as part of, like, nuclear reprocessing, and all sorts of various different decay materials from uranium, I think, and just, ugh. They're making it really real. Yeah, really real stuff inbound. Oh, bedding and food. Yes, bedding and food. Am I even gonna have enough thingies here? I know it's just past the normal time. I would end this, but we'll be. I want to finish this build. I spent like an hour just talking. Today, over an hour just talking, discussing various things. We can get some more gameplay in. Yeah, it sounds like Bob's Mods, but it's going to be far, far worse. Our Vrauk food at Arcod, as strange as that is. And our what was the other thing? Food and bedding at Arcod. Bedding. Vrauk. Food. Ta-da. Vrauk. Hello, Vrauk. Thank you for the Vrauk. Yeah, some of the I wouldn't put it past me if they don't. I wouldn't put it past them to add more stuff to science packs based off of the new things being added in Pi Alternative Energy, including changes to uranium and processing of that for use as fuel for producing power. Okay, I need initial archods, and I need the combs, and I need the barrels. More empty barrels and such. So now I need to go to where I'm making those combs. Once I move a few more barrels over, I want to make sure that I don't overdo it on those barrels. I think that may be okay. I don't know. It's a bit of a distance, but you know what? We'll stick with this as is, and we will see what happens. So earlier I made... I converted wax into these empty combs, so I will grab these empty combs. In the current state of the game, we do need to make tritium in order to beat the game and do some fusion stuff. So there is still that for the very, very end. Oh yeah, I finally remembered where my advanced castings are. Oh, I need a Megadar. Megadar coverage for you. Isn't it pretty though? Just a point of reference. This is making net 2 archods. This is making net 2 archods. This is making 0.5 archods. This is 0.5. This is 2. What a difference technology makes. And game progression. The more I play, the more I realize that tech progression is... I need to focus more on progressing tech than scaling. I spend sometimes too much time scaling up at a tech level when I should just be trying to get into the next tech level, even if it's very slow for tech progression, because the techs unlock so very much. So very much. So many better recipes that just knock out everything prior. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be enough, but I'm going to do the same thing as the barrels here. Stick those combs in it. Now, because I know that this is comb neutral and this box was not filled with combs overall, I know that I will never be fully backed up here. But we're moving. We are, in fact, moving, which means that this system is now finished. Once we complete a cycle here, making these filled combs... Yeah, the abiotic ammonia cyanic stuff is just amazing. Is simply amazing. And I'm glad to have it. I'm making 600 ammonia a second now, thanks to abiotic ammonia. All the way over here. Yeah! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 600 per second of abiotic ammonia. It's so beautiful and glorious. And the abiotic cyanic is nearby, right here. Hi, abiotic cyanic. This is key to scaling cobalt extract. I have changed my cobalt extract to make use of the abiotic cyanic. So remember that this is going to be making the nests, Arcod nests, which, yeah, that's going to process into eggs inside of Vrauk, and it will kill the Vrauk in the process. Also note that the Mark II versus the Mark I of these hydrocarbon plants, you go from 10 Arcods to 13. And I don't know why. Like, you only gain 30% to your speed off of these. Usually it's either 50% or double. Okay, we're moving. We're moving. We've got some eggs. Some eggs are going. We've got nests. The nests, they're nesting. They're nesting in the Vrauk. They're making their eggs. We're gonna... Oh god, it makes 20 eggs per cycle. Okay. 20 eggs per cycle. Yeah, this will process 5 of them. 1 to 1. The 22% productivity on this building makes this recipe 1 to 1 egg to maggot, when usually it is a 5 to 4. Yeah, it's glorious. Thank you for incubating. Incubate! Give me... Hatch these eggs. Hatch them. Go. We're almost hatched. We'll get 4 per cycle. And there they go. And then, oh boy. Gosh, we have to wait for another cycle to finish because this just gives it 8. Then it's a it says here 10 to 10, but not quite. it's 10 to 14 in reality. I mean, yeah, the first cycle is going to be 10, 10. The second cycle is going to be 10, 10. But the third cycle will be 10, 20. It's gonna give a lot. It's gonna give a lot. We'll get that productivity bonus on here. The first of the Archods, the first set of the Archods made using the new system, it's arrived. Also, I need a Mega Dar. Thank you, Mega Dar, most mega, glorious and beautiful Mega Dar. That confirms that this system is fully operational. I now am able to fully supply the pesticide build down over here. I'm now able to fully supply the pesticide build with my Archods. Is any of this not working? Why are you two not functioning? Did I not place enough mixers? Did I? No, it says I only need one. It says I only need one of you, so what's your problem? Huh? What's your problem? You're going. You're going fine. This says 4. Is it like 3.1? It's 3.8, so there should not be red lights. So why does it seem like there's a problem here? I don't know. I don't know. But you know what, at this point, do I care? No, because I now have my pesticides set up as well as sufficient Archod production for it. With that, we have reached the end of today's stream, folks. I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Showboat. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by pushing the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushowboat if you're so inclined and able. I will be back with more on Tuesday. I hope to see you all on the next one.